What is going on, gang-a-lang? We are back once again with another tier list. And this time around, we have ourselves a freaking chair tier list. And I am actually super happy to be doing this one. Now, you all may not know this, but the Joe Dog is the king of sitting. And I will lead you all to victory with this list.
Pretty sure I sit more than you, Joe, but whatever. I'm happy with the lists I've done recently.
We probably chose Joe because he doesn't break the chairs after sitting on them, so he'd have a better review.
Now, that isn't very nice, Barack. I think it's okay that you break chairs, Donald. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this list started. And up first, we got the Adirondack chair. And yes, that is what you call these things. And this is a nasty chair, and I don't like the layout of it at all. Call me crazy, but this belongs in D tier, while our next entry, which is the armchair, belongs in A tier. Love me a good armchair, but I must admit that it gets outranked by a lot of other things on this list.
Joe, the fact that you even know what the hell that first chair is called amazes me. You know what, I am respecting your chair game now because I was fully unaware you even had chair game.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as Donald because who the hell knew what an Adirondack chair is? Like maybe we just suck at knowing our types of chair, but good on you for knowing Joe.
I'm not used to you guys being so nice to me. I feel so good I can bust out in glee and laughter and nothing else. Anyways, let's go ahead and rate the next two because after that we got two back-to-back C tiers in the ball chair and Barcelona chair because these look nice, but I swear they are uncomfortable. The ball chair makes you think you'd be cozy and snug, but if you're tall or wide or both, like in Donald's case, you just don't fit in it quite right. And the Barcelona chair just has an awkward orientation, and I won't have one of these in my humble abode.
Okay, I'll respect the fact that you called me tall, but that wide comment better be because I work out so much and am just so buff.
We can say that, but yeah, then after we got a certified S tier in the toilet seat because goddamn do I enjoy myself a great toilet seat.
Okay, I don't want to sound like a hater, but what's so good about a toilet seat?
The toilet seat is the most sacred chair you can have in your household. And just think about the amount of times you sit in it and even stay in it till your legs fall asleep. The Joe Dog heavily respects the toilet seat. But yes, then after we have the barrel chair, and this gets a B tier from me because these make me feel like I'm sitting in a waiting room. And while it's not uncomfortable, it just makes me feel funny. And not the good type of funny either.
The hell is a good type of funny?
Like, ha ha, funny Barack. Come on now, that's an easy good type of funny feeling. But yes, then after I have the beach chair and C tier, because these kind of suck and are super situational and not really that comfy, and then the butterfly chair going into B tier because they're kind of mid. But oh man, we got an A tier in the camping chair because if you sit in these bad boys, you know you're going to be nice and cozy. And if they have a drink holder, it's a plus. Then rounding off these sets of similar chairs, I have the deck chair also going into B tier because it's quite all right.
Joe, you keep calling them mid, but then putting them into B tier. Make it make sense.
Oh, like you haven't done that before. Listen, man, any chair is a good chair, but there can still be some bad ones if that makes sense.
No, it does not make sense, Joe.
Well, I guess real ones just know, and I happen to be the realest MFer out there. But then following that, we got an auto S tier in the desk chair, and god damn, if you get yourself a good desk chair to sit and relax on, then you got yourself a beauty. And just to clarify, I don't mean gaming chairs because those suck donkey balls. And if you're ever going to get a chair for your desktop, then 100% always go with a nice-ass office or desk chair, and your back will literally twerk for you.
Okay, Joe is spitting mad facts here because always get a gaming chair expecting it to be comfy as hell. But then they end up with a broken back, or even worse, with a broken chair like Donald here.
Listen, man, why do you have to go telling everyone in the world what happened during the Discord video call? It's not my fault the damn chair broke when I threw myself on it. With that much force and momentum, an anorexic midget could have broken it.
Donald, you calmly sat down on it, and as you were about to start your sentence, it just gave out.
You and I have different interpretations of what transpired that day.
I wish I could remember what happened, but I was too busy knocked out on call. I love hearing you two talk because it makes me so happy and fuzzy inside.
Gross, Joe. Don't involve me and Barack in whatever you got going on in your mind.
You can stop me in the call, but you can't stop my imagination in my bathtub. But, yeah, then after we got a director's chair, and while these look uncomfortable as hell, there must be a reason as to why all directors choose this chair instead of a lazy boy, so I gotta give it a B tier for that. But then after we got a metal folding chair, and these things are absolutely dreadful, and I don't think a damn soul in this world would argue that they belong higher than a D tier because, goddamn, what the hell is this man? These things suck so much, but thankfully we have a palate cleanser up next, and I don't know how this qualifies as a chair, but I am damn happy that the hammock made the cut, because this is an automatic S tier in my books. Get you a nice summer breeze going and sit out in the sun, and I can lay here for days. I've even had times where I accidentally fell asleep and Jill wouldn't open the door for me, and then I had to give her a sandwich the next day because of it.
Aw, that's sweet of you, Joe. You messed up in not waking up early enough to get back inside, and to apologize to Jill, you made her a sandwich. You know, that is actually one of the sweeter things you've mentioned on this channel. And for a second, I doubted if you truly loved your wife.
Oh yeah, I gave her a sandwich, all right, a damn knuckle sandwich, because how dare a bitch get all twisted on my ass and not let me inside.
Never mind, there it is.
Personally, I would have gone with a pimp slap if she disrespected me that much.
No, you shouldn't be doing that.
That's a good one, Donald. I'm gonna have to do that next time. But yes, then after we got a high chair, and while I like the type of age group that sits in these, I don't like sitting in them myself, and we'll have to give it a D tier. And then after the lawn chair gets a C tier from me, because sometimes the plastic parts stick out and hurt me a bit, but it beats everything in D tier for me.
Valid as hell, Joe, because those lawn chairs admittedly do suck ass at times and are weak and can't handle a lot of weight. Not that I would know.
Are we really going to ignore what Joe said to start that sentence off?
So yeah, then after we got the park bench, and this is okay, and this is yet another C tier. I don't think anyone goes out of their way to sit in one of these, but if they're there, you'll sit in it. Oh man, but then after we got a freaking S tier, because the recliner is a gift from God himself, and I freaking love these things. Taking a nap on one of these definitely has to be like a top 5 feeling you'll ever get in life.
Now this is definitely something that Don can get behind, because a damn good recliner after a fat meal like one after Thanksgiving is definitely amazing.
Glad you see the vision, Donald, because the Joester is fucking cooking. After that, we got a rolling chair and a salon chair, both going into B tier. They're okay, but I don't think people realize how much more comfortable we could be getting if we just sat in something else while getting our hair cut, or how useless rolling chairs are if you got a good office chair with wheels. Then after I got something that may be controversial, but I don't have the sofa going into S tier, but I rather have this going into A tier. And the reason for this is that while this might be comfy, you have to also realize that these are meant for sharing. And the Joe Dog just can't nap nicely if there isn't enough legroom, or if the sofa is just poorly made.
What if that sofa on the list was a really nicely made one and you just judged it harshly for no reason?
Nah, man, I can tell by just looking at it that it's more of a backroom casting couch type of sofa, rather than a nice one to sleep on. But moving on, we got a stool, and I don't even need to explain why that goes into D tier or why the throne goes into S tier. These are super self-explanatory, but the wheelchair gets an A tier from the Joe Dog, and some of you might be confused, but these are actually kind of comfy, and I like playing in them. Then after the Windsor chair gets a C tier, because damn, these wooden chairs just suck ass.
Now what's wrong with a wooden chair?
Do you even hear yourself, man? You know damn well a wooden chair feels like shit. Sometimes I feel like you just talk to say, I swear to God. But yeah, then after we got 2 back-to-back A tier entries in the womb chair and the beanbag. Now the beanbag might be rated too highly, but that month before the beanbag turns to shit is magical, and I love how I can just melt in it. But yeah, then after we have our final S tier entry, and the chaise lounge chair, because these are so damn good to just sit in and literally, as the name implies, lounge around.
Well, way to spoil the fact that we don't have any S tiers, Joe. What if I didn't know you weren't a fan of the rocking chair or wicker chair?
Listen, man, you'd have to be missing a chromosome to like these last 2 chairs, actually. I take it back, because the rocking chair is at least a little fun because you can rock back and forth. So I actually am going to place that into B tier, but the damn wicker chair only gets a C tier from me because these suck ass. And quite frankly, are not all that comfortable. And if you have someone as big as Donald sit on them, then you may as well call it wraps, because you are cooked, my friend. Better call up IKEA and ask about their refund policy in the case of being destroyed by a gluteus maximus.
Listen here, you little fuck. The only thing that is getting destroyed is my gluteus maximus when I work out, and nothing more. Actually, wait, that came across a little weird. You guys know what I mean when I say my ass is getting destroyed. I don't mean it in the way that I know Joe wishes it was, but whenever you do a nice glute workout, you just feel your glute muscles just tear apart, and it hurts so bad sometimes that you just can't sit down, and so you're left with a really sore ass. And okay, that also sounds really weird, but I swear my ass got sore from working out and nothing more. It is completely fine and normal to wake up with a sore ass and or butt.
And I'm making sure Fraile keeps that in the video.
I'd love to destroy your gluteus maximus Donald.
What is going on, gang a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time around we're going to be doing a long-awaited deodorant tier list.
Was it really long awaited, Barack? Can you really say that our fans were clamoring for a freaking deodorant tier list?
Yeah, like who even bothers with that stuff, to be honest? Like I just let my natural man Musk just take over an entire room because I want people to feel my aura as soon as I step into the room. And if for whatever reason someone wants me to lower my power level, then I guess I spray a bit of cologne or use a bit of my wonderful Axe body spray. I am Axe body spray believer, and I love the way it compounds with my already existing smell and how I can just spray myself with this instead of taking a shower. That's honestly probably my favorite thing about it.
Jesus Christ, Joe, we know you don't take showers, and honestly, when you mix it in with the Axe body spray, you just have this weird onion aroma that just mixes with whatever spray fragrance you have. And Axe usually just has some horrendous, like cologne smelling ones that just smell like pure rubbing alcohol. And I swear it made my nose bleed once from just smelling it.
True point about the Axe Donald. And yay, honestly, Joe, I think you're the one who needs to take this list the most seriously. Because goddamn, this would help you like tenfold if you paid attention and used anything on this list that isn't Axe body spray. Like literally anything. Joe, I'd even take the damn lime over it. Hell, I'd be happy if you used hand sanitizer on your pits instead, because at least then the germs will die off with all the alcohol that touches it.
The Joester doesn't need any of this because he has never gotten a complaint about his smell, which he also calls his aura. I think you guys are just insecure about your power levels and you wish it could be as high as mine.
Joe, what if we told you that if you started using these products more often and started bathing regularly, then the chances of Margot Robbie and Sydney Sweeney not running away from you because of your quote-unquote aura literally skyrockets to double digits in percentages?
I like your funny words, Orange Man. That's it. Tell me what I should and shouldn't use, Barack.
Well, I'm actually super happy that you're going to listen. But it does make me sad to hear that you're only listening because of the intangible prospect of meeting Margot Robbie or Sydney Sweeney, because there is no way in hell they'll talk to you.
Yep. Is that all you do? I know you're just jealous of the Joe Dog's pull because you know that he gets some while you don't. The Joester just has immaculate riz, and I know that you're simply just jealous, Barack.
I totally am jealous of that non-existent riz you got, Joe, but whatever. Let's go ahead and get this list started. And up first, we have Axe body spray, which is Joe's favorite because then he doesn't have to rub anything on himself and he can just spray this bottle all over his body and call it a day. But unfortunately, for literally everyone around him on that day, they'll wish that Axe body spray never existed. And if you're not a teenager and you still use this, then all I have to do is ask why. Why on this green earth would you choose to subject yourself to that? Don't be like Joe and use Axe body spray, especially when there are much more better options, like I'm talking about day and night levels of difference. So for that, I think I am going to place our first entry, which is Axe body spray, straight into D tier, because this is a load of hot garbage.
I hear a lot of hate in your heart, Barack. You need to fix that because real ones know that Axe body spray is elite.
Joe, for once, I'm going to have to say that Barack is spitting here because goddamn do I hate Axe.
Thank you, Donald. I'm glad you aren't as insane as Joe, but then again, that's a really low bar. That's like trying to find a discount store in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood.
Whoa, and you got some jokes too? Look at you, Barack. You're truly locking the hell in right now because you don't want to mess up this list.
I'm more locked in than Joe is when he's next to a toddler. But yes, moving past that, we have Groundskeeper deodorant. And man, this is a solid ass selection. And if you have this, then I will have to salute you because you clearly know your stuff. And I have to say that I'm a pretty big fan of this brand and have them going into A tier. They're really good, but I still got some more elite stuff coming up and I can't lump in Groundskeeper with them, even though I like it a lot, because literally right after that we have Old Spice, and god damn, I twerk for some good Old Spice. I remember back in the day with those Terry Crews commercials where he would just yell at the top of his lungs about Old Spice, and I thought to myself back then, man, if this guy is yelling so loudly and they put so much effort into these commercials, then maybe I should try it. And ever since then, I have been using it, and I have no regrets about it. I will say, though, that it isn't the best on this list, because there are better ones, and there is one entry in particular that I will die for. But this still belongs in S tier for legacy and smelling reasons.
Definitely spitting here, Barack, but man, I love Terry Crews. He's such a cool guy.
That's so true, Donald. I miss Terry Crews. I wonder what he does now.
Joe, he's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You literally watched the show with me the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh? Well, would you look at that? Good for him that he's still acting.
Yeah, sure, Joe. But yes, moving past that, we have Degree, and I still like this one a decent bit, but this isn't getting anything higher than a B tier from me because it is good, but like, man, I am not a fan of using Degree. It just doesn't smell or last as long as it should when compared to other things, but of course it beats out what I have going into C tier, and yes, it beats Axe by a mile. Felt like I had to say that before someone types it out in the comments or Joe decides to say something stupid.
No. I think my comments are done. I want to smell nice for Sydney Sweeney and Margot Robbie, so I am letting you take the floor, Barack. You are the most feminine one here, so of course I take your advice on nice smelling things very seriously.
Okay, yeah, that felt like a backhanded compliment, but I'll just take it at face value and say, thank you, Joe, for trusting me. Anyways, then after we have something slightly better than Degree, and that is Dove, and I have this bad boy going straight into A tier. I use a lot of Dove products in general, so it's not really all that crazy when I say that their men's deodorant works pretty well. Again, I just want to reiterate that there is really no wrong answer for any of these entries except for maybe B tier and below. But as long as you use anything in A tier or above, then you're absolutely golden in my eyes.
And if you use absolutely none of the things on this list, then I want you to know that the Joe Dog salutes you and supports absolutely everything you're doing. And I hope you don't let society put down your power level in order to abide by their so-called rules.
Joe, that is possibly the worst advice you can give to our subscribers. Please use deodorant, everyone. Like it's not that hard, and some of them smell absolutely amazing. Get you some citrusy or fruity smelling ones and you will be golden.
Thanks for the backup, Donald. But yeah, this makes me think we should do a shampoo and soap tier list. That would be a neat idea. But let's continue on with the list because we have one that many people are going to be like, well, what the hell? And that, of course, is the lime. Listen, guys, if you're ever down bad or if you realized your pits smell pretty bad and you're in a pinch, then thankfully I have just the life hack for you. If you're in a restaurant and realize that your pits absolutely stink, then ask for a couple of limes and then stuff halves in your pocket and book it to the bathroom. You then want to rub the lime juice all over your armpits and then dry them off with some towels. Now, preferably, you do this in a do or die type of situation rather than just doing it for fun, but maybe you just like to keep things all natural or you want to make your own deodorant. If that's the case, then yeah, go ahead with limes. And I don't know if alcohol is natural, but that also works because the smell that comes from your armpits is pure bacteria just festering about in your pits. So if you get some hand sanitizer, you can just rub it all over your pits and effectively achieve the same thing as rubbing limes on your armpits.
So why would they not rather rub rubbing alcohol or any type of hand sanitizer instead? Like, I don't know how you're selling me on the limes because quite frankly, it just seems like a better idea to just do the hand sanitizer instead.
Well, some people have sensitive skin, so the hand sanitizer would irritate most skins, but the lime would maybe not do that, I think. I actually don't really know. But yeah, anyways, the lime gets a certified C tier for me because this is more of a use in case of emergency type of thing. And quite frankly, I don't skip out on deodorant, so this is never an issue for me. But yes, moving past that, we have Gillette's deodorant, and this gets a certified A tier banger from the Obama himself. And I do have to say that Gillette makes better razors than they do deodorants, but hey, it still gets pretty high. So that basically tells you that I think their razors are some of the best.
Yeah, don't get scammed by Gillette. I just use Harry's and they ship me a box with new razors every month, and I just go ham with it. They are a Joe Dog certified banger in my book.
Holy W, Joe, you were taking a bunch of L's on this list, but you've come through with that comment because I freaking love Harry's.
Harry's is good too, but don't knock Gillette out just because they don't have super cheap razors. They have amazing quality, and I will stand by that. But yes, moving on to our final two entries, we have Suave, and then we have my precious Dr. Squatch. Now, these last two get back-to-back S tiers from me, but damn, let me just glaze the hell out of Dr. Squatch because I love all their scents, and I love how they're expanding into more and more things. I can buy razors from them, shampoos, lotions, deodorants, soaps, and even freaking candles, man. I love the hell out of their company. And if I had to recommend one specific thing to you all, I'd say to get the coconut castaway deodorant because they have a soap bar version too, and you'll just end up smelling amazing if you use both in the same day.
Leave it to Barack to get so excited over soap and shampoo, but I must admit you have a tremendous dub on your hands because the Don loves Dr. Squatch, but he's more of a Bay Rum type of guy.
I can't believe these things get you two so excited. I absolutely hate cleaning myself and using deodorant because it feels like a chore.
What smell would make it feel like less of a chore for you, Joe? Maybe we can find it for you.
Do they have female discharge as an option?
What is going on, Gang A-Lang? We are back with another tier list, and we are finally doing our long-awaited shoe brands tier list. And I'm down and ready to get this started because you all know that Barry's shoe game is on point, and I will have the best opinions.
Now, why do you say that? You know that the Joe Dog shoe game is also on point, and I'd even argue that I have the best shoes out of the three of us.
Joe, buddy, I love you very little, and that's why it elates me to say this, but I genuinely think you have the most horrendous shoe game out of almost any single human being that has been birthed on this planet. I swear that homeless people have better shoes than you, and I don't even know how that happens. Like they have no access to a home, so you'd assume that they would have very crappy clothes and shoes, and don't get me wrong, because they totally do. But somehow Joe outdoes them and has some rinky-dinky ass shoes.
What are you saying, Donald? I'll put some respect on Joe's shoe game because whenever he goes in a press conference or is on video, he has some really nice looking shoes.
Oh, Barack, you don't know the worst part.
Listen, Barack, you don't want to think that's my shoe style because those are what they make me wear before I go on air, but my real shoe game lies within my closet because you see what I do is that I wear a shoe until it's about to fall apart. Like I'm talking about how my soles will look like a yapping duckbill with the way it flops with every step. And then the outer wear and tear will get pretty bad too, and it may get scuffed up more often than not, but it's like a crafting video game. I wait till I lose multiple pieces and put them in a storage closet, and I just wait till they completely rip. And if my new pair of Nike shoes lose the front layer, then I go looking for pieces in my closet of another shoe or even of another brand. So I glue or sew them together and make these really epic looking shoes that are custom made, and I swear that they are the talk of the town. No one can really call out a man's shoe game when he's wearing every single major brand in some sort of elaborate and cool hybrid shoe.
Joe, what you've made is an abomination to God. And if you all haven't seen his closet, it is quite literally littered with random shoe parts, and most aren't even in good condition because go figure that if you lose a part of your shoe, chances are that it wasn't in good condition in the first place. But God, what's even worse is the way he sews and glues them all together into this big mess of a shoe, and there are unproportionate sizes, different colorways, and just a mix of lettering and brand logos all woven throughout the one shoe, and the pairs don't even match. He can have a totally normal looking shoe on one foot and then have the aforementioned Frankenstein of a monster shoe on his other foot, and most of the time he just looks like a damn idiot wearing that, and I swear people think he's homeless more often than not.
But it gets us plenty of free food and ice cream when we're out in public, doesn't it? Plus, people randomly give me change and give me a sad smile. It must be because they're so sad that they'll never match my shoes' swagger levels.
I promise you, Joe, that it is definitely not that, and probably just because they, honest to God, think you're a homeless man.
Nah, that can't be it.
I wish to be as delusional as Joe sometimes. I feel like it's like living your life as a dog or something, like you don't worry about anything and just merely exist without a thought in your head. Unfortunately, though we have the curse of knowing Joey and learning about every single thing he does. Thankfully, though, we can forget about all of Joe's crazy and wild things and just focus in on this tier list because we can finally start it, rather than going on this crazy shoe tangent with Joe. Now, if you all notice, there aren't a ton of brands, and I didn't want to add every single brand known to man because we'd be here all day, but hey, I added Jordan shoes for you all, even though they're owned by Nike. But without further ado, let's get this list started, and up first we got Birkenstock, and I have these immediately going into S tier.
Wait, I thought they only made fancy and expensive sandals. What the heck is up with that high-ass rating if they don't even make shoes?
Joe, you absolute buffoon. Sandals are an open type of shoe, and Birkenstock does actually sell shoes as well. God, Joe, this is how I can tell that you really have not had anything good in your life because Birkenstock isn't even all that, but you still called them fancy. We're lucky Barack didn't even add the really bougie items like Gucci or Louis Vuitton shoes.
Or like Shacknosis Reebok shoes, which I have noticed that you don't have Reebok on here, Barack. What's up with that, bro?
You know what, Joe? That actually slipped my mind, but I am not going to remake this list. To add Donald's Gucci and Louis Vuitton shoes and your stupid Sheknosis Reebok shoes, Joe.
I didn't even say I wanted them added. I literally said, we're lucky you didn't add those.
Shut up, Donald. And Barack, they're not stupid. And I didn't say to add the shoe, did I? I said to add the brand, you freaking dingus.
I hate you so damn much, Joe. But yeah, moving on with the list, we have Fila, and their older shoes look nice, like their Grant Hill basketball shoes, but their disruptors look like I'd have ashy ankles at the family barbecue. That, and like I would wear a polo shirt alongside some really short cargo shorts with a beer belly and all.
The fuck you trying to say?
Nothing, man. I'm sure that Fila shoes are accessible to people with all body types and colors. But for me personally, I have this going into C tier because it ain't all that, and I want to remind everyone that it is purely for the shoe and nothing more as a brand. No hate to their other products, but yes, moving past that, we have Crocs, and who doesn't like Crocs? I think I'll place these into A tier because they're nice, but I don't really see myself using them all that much unless it's inside of the house.
Now that's a waste, Barry. Why else do you think Crocs have a sport mode? You got to use those bad boys outside, and I have seen the ones in your house, and you need to put some gibbets on them or something.
I would, but Michelle told me that it would ruin our matching Croc theme, and she doesn't allow me to do that.
It's okay, Barry. I can make you and Michelle matching gibbets. I can make a child, a high schooler, a middle schooler, and that's about it.
It scares me that you can make iterations of all those things and somehow fit it into a small gibbet size, but I'm going to have to decline, Joe. Following that, we have two back-to-back S tiers in Nike and Adidas. Now, I feel like these two are the primary brands most people use for their shoes. Like, if this were a Pokemon game, it would be like Pokemon Gold or Pokemon Silver. Like, you can choose either and not go wrong. But obviously, people have their preferences. But that's why I put those into S tier. I don't really have a lot to say about these because you all already know what's up with these two brands. So let me just focus our attention to our next entry, which are Heelys. And these were pretty banging back in the day. But now if you think about it, you kind of look like an idiot if you're using Heelys outside. And they're not really all that worth to use. And it's more of a gag than anything else because no one is actually Heelying around. For those reasons, I have to place this into B tier because at least it gets points for being fun, albeit useless.
That's because you haven't mastered the art of the Heely. I swear I remember rubbing hand sanitizer all over the wheel and the bottom of my Heely shoe and then lighting it on fire so that I can heel away in flaming glory. And you know what? It was pretty epic when I did it, but then my shoes caught on fire and then I tied my laces super tight. So it was a pain to get them off. So I was thrashing and banging my shoes against this concrete wall, hoping it would kill the fire, and eventually I gave up and stomped and rubbed mud all over my shoes to kill the fire, and it worked. And I only got away with a couple of major burns that forever scarred my feet.
That was an incredible story, Joe.
Well, thanks, Barack. For a second, I thought you or Donald were going to make fun of me or something.
You didn't let me finish, Joe, because I said it was an incredible story. An incredibly stupid story, Joe. God, I don't even know what goes on in that head of yours, because I can't decide if it's totally vacant or if it's like 2 or 3 brain cells that are left in there. On either way, I am not touching that further, and instead we'll continue with the list, and after that we have Puma. And I know you all can barely see it, but I swear it's Puma, and I actually really like Puma and the newer stuff they're doing with athletes. And just how they're trying to compete in the shoe space in different markets and sports. I think some of the designs are cool, and I applaud their effort in trying to get into that shoe market space that Nike and Adidas own so much of. And I think I'll give them an A tier. Then we have Jordans. And listen, Jordan is a subsidiary of Nike, so like it is a part of Nike, and really I shouldn't have this on the damn list. But like I mentioned earlier, if I didn't add Jordans, I just know someone in the comments was going to complain and holler, but yeah, they don't go as high as Nike. And quite frankly, only get an A tier. Then, since I also have this one going into A tier as well, I may as well talk about New Balance as well, and for much of the same reasons as Puma. I have New Balance going up here because of their efforts of trying to shake up the shoe market game, and I respect the hell out of that. If there was an A+ tier, I'd also put New Balance in there because I actually prefer them to Puma, but hey, we don't have that. So just make a mental note that I prefer New Balance shoes over Puma. They have comfort and quality, and that's not even mentioning that they have some pretty cool designs that I personally really like.
God, that was a huge yap session. You know, you could have saved us a ton of time by just saying, I have 3 back-to-back-to-back A tiers that would have definitely cut out a lot of the yapping.
Donald, it was not yapping because I had to explain why I had my stances on them, because if I didn't, then someone in the comments was going to come for my throat.
So once again, you're scared the comments are going to come for your throat.
Guys, I'm lost. Why do so many people in the comments want to come inside of Barack's throat?
You're so vile, Joe. Let's just end off this list before he says any more crazier things. And the last thing we have on here are Skechers shoes. And these are pretty butt as well. And honestly, I might place this lower than Fila, but I don't know. I think I'll place it into C tier, but let it be known that it is an extremely low C tier, like 69.5%, and it barely got rounded up.
Why did you round up? What's the point in that?
Nah, Joe, let him round up. I quite like that philosophy. I think I'm going to be rounding up more numbers in my life.
Donald, rounding up from 2.5 inches to 3 inches isn't as much of an upgrade as you think.
What is going on, Gang Lang? We are back with another tier list. And this time around, we are going to be doing a tier list of tiers. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but that's what we have next on our queue. So I guess we have to work with it.
I personally am super happy about this because now we can explain how much we really twerk for these tiers, or like how we feel when we place them.
On God, Joe, I smell what you're throwing down right now, and for once it doesn't stink.
You guys are seriously excited for this? Well, I won't give much input on this and would rather hear your opinions on these because I don't really feel all too strongly about a tier list about tiers. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this list started. And up first, we have S tier. How do you two feel about it?
Now, this is a good one. Let me take the floor here, Joe, because I will twerk for an S tier, and I obviously think this belongs in S tier. Like, I don't know where the term S tier came from because I don't understand why we don't have A tier at the very top. But you know what? I like that it's different and that there's another ranking higher than A tier. Now, when you have an S tier ranking on your hands, this is like a hands on your knees. Bust a move and twerk all over the place for this ranking because goddamn anything that gets placed up there is bona fide. I don't think there's ever a bad S tier ranking on any list unless we're talking about Barack's lists.
Okay. Don't know why I'm catching a stray, especially when the comments have been twerking for me recently and saying my lists have been pure heat, but whatever, sure.
Well, it's hard to mess up your easy ass list, bro. You got some Mickey Mouse Clubhouse lists with no controversial stuff. Like, come on, Barack, let's not kid ourselves here because a shoe tier list and deodorant tier list is not something crazy. I want to see you do something that'll actually make you get hunted by the comments because this lucky streak is about to end soon.
Glad to see you're preying on my downfall, Joe. I feed off the energy of my haters and I only grow stronger. But yeah, let's move on with the list. And after that, we have A tier. And where are you two placing this one? Let me hear from Joe for this.
I'm glad you asked the Joe Dog because boy, howdy am I filled with opinions. I think A tier should go into A tier.
Care to explain why?
No.
Nice one, Joe.
All right, I am happy I basically wasted my time in even asking Joe for anything. Well, anyways, following that, we have B tier and the floor. Once again, goes to you, Donald.
Well, I'll gladly talk because I love to do that. But yeah, I think that this is a pretty mid-tier. Like, sure, I'll rate things in B, but I'm basically just saying that stuff is kind of better than average things in C, but not as good to be in great things in A tier. It's basically saying, yeah, this is all right, I guess not as bad as C tier, but it kind of almost is a C tier. It's a nice way of saying this is pretty mid. And I think for that, I have to put B tier and C tier because it's just usually kind of all right and can swing either below or above for most people. I think it's one of the more controversial ones in our lists.
But wouldn't something slightly better than mid be good? Like you kind of just gave away the answer. Like S tier is to twerk for, A tier is great, B tier is good, and C tier is mid as hell. What is there not to understand in that ranking? What do you freaking mean by it's a nice way of saying mid, it's literally good?
Shut up, Joe. Don't point out the fallacies in my argument, especially in front of the subscribers.
Yeah, I have to agree with Donald here.
You're just saying that because it'll make your list look better when you rank bad stuff too high.
Listen, Joe, I'm not the Lorax. I don't speak for the trees.
Now, what in the hell does that have to do with anything? No one is mentioning no damn Lorax.
He may not be speaking for the trees, but he's speaking for me, Joe.
Thanks for the backup, Donald, just for that. I want to hear what you have to say again because Joe pissed me off earlier. So please enlighten us with what you think about C tier.
I'm glad you asked, Barack, because to me, C tier belongs in B tier. Like, this is the truest form of mid. This is more neutral than like alkaline water because damn, if I put something in C tier, I want you all to know that I really don't have a strong feeling on it, but just know that it is better than whatever is in D tier. Like if you think about it, this is like the purest form of neutrality. Like when you're playing a game and you do a neutral playthrough, it's neither bad nor good. You're just kind of existing and watching the rest go on, and that's how C tier is. Like no one hates the items there and they are forced to watch things get placed above it or below it. But I will say that you definitely breathe a sigh of relief because it wasn't treated as badly as things we put in D tier. Because I won't lie, we definitely just trash and fart all over what we place in D tier because we just treat it like Lizzo during a buffet. We are just full of jokes and have nothing positive to say about it.
Lizzo at a buffet, I like that. I agree that it is extremely mid, and I like the rating a lot.
Okay, can I please take over the ranking for the next one because I just know that I will cook with the D tier. Give old Joe another redemption chance.
Okay, Joe, but I swear you better not do anything funny like you did last time. I won't have anything nice to say about it.
Don't you worry, Barry Barack. I have a lot to say about D tier because damn, this is a good ranking. We use it a lot in our tier lists and even get rid of F tiers because we save those for special occasions. But D tier is so great because this is basically the crappiest ranking we have. And whenever we put something in there, then you know how badly that must stink. This is an elite ranking, but I don't think it goes as high as S tier because it isn't as bad as saying that something belongs in F tier, but it is pretty damn close if you ask me, and I like that. It isn't as mean as saying as something is in F tier. So it helps the audience like the rating a bit more because then they'll think to themselves, well, at least this isn't in F tier. So it kind of softens the blow for them in a sense.
Well, I personally don't care if it softens the blow for them, but a very good analysis you got there, Joe. I like that you went somewhat in depth with it, but yeah, no need to carry on with who does what ranking Barack because I need to talk about E tier. I absolutely hate this ranking and this has to go into F tier. Like who the hell uses this ranking and thinks that E is an appropriate thing? Like I know we praised and twerked for S tier, but that's because it sounds meech as hell and represents something higher than A tier. Now E tier on the other hand is like an in-between for D and F tier, and who the hell needs that? If something is that bad, then it goes into F tier, and if it doesn't suck that bad, it goes into D tier. Like why even bother adding in that unnecessary ass ranking? But the worst part about this, like what I truly believe is the worst part is that it just does not roll off the tongue nicely at all. Like imagine hearing one of us say, we are putting this into E tier. Like no way that sounds appetizing at all to any of you. And quite frankly, I think I would rather die than to ever see this gross rating on our tier list because I directly forbid Fraile from ever adding that on. I would rather be tied to a boat and have honey and random sugary stuff poured on me and then just left to float above the lake as the insects eat me alive as I drift away in pure agony than to have to do a tier list with a damn E tier ranking.
Wow, that was some really harsh words for something I don't really even think about. Like, if I'm being quite honest, I didn't even know that ranking things in E tier was even a thing until we did this list. I don't think it's really popular at all, if I am being quite honest.
And there's a reason why. The people agree that E tier is the absolute worst ranking to ever exist on this damn planet. Like, goddamn, just hearing that makes my blood boil, and I want to go berserk from just hearing it.
Settle down there, Donnie T, because we're about to end the list, and the Joe Dog needs to get his licks in on F tier.
All right, let us have it, Joe.
I think F tier is good. I like it and think it goes in S tier.
God damn it, Joe. He got us again with the same BS. Donald, take over.
Gladly. Now, the beauty behind F tier is that it's like a break in case of emergency type of ranking. And what I mean by that is that when a list has an item or items that are so supremely ass, I feel like this is when we bust out the F tier. It's almost necessary at times because goddamn some things really do stink worse than Joe's breath. And that's where this bad boy comes into play. I do have to agree with Joe though, because even though we don't use F tier that much, I twerk for it when it's presented as an option because it just lets me absolutely shit all over what was put there. Like think about how awful an item has to be that we add a freaking F tier to the list when we normally just do S through D. Like that just has to add a whole new layer to the pain we already inflicted. It's like a double burn, and the Don loves that.
Ooh, a double burn. I like the sound of that, and you guys already know how much the Joe Dog loves pain. Get me a good burn from some hot candle wax, and you'll get the Joe Dog more revved up than a V8 engine.
Joe, can we please not talk about that? Not only because we will get demonetized, but also because I am more than certain that our audience does not want to hear that about you.
You'd be surprised what the people want to hear about. They love my Joe lore and want to know more about me, and I will gladly give them the information that they want to hear.
All right, Joe. If you're so happy about the people wanting to learn more about you, then why don't you go ahead and tell them about what happened in the summer of 1973?
Okay, no more Joe lore. We're done here.
Why don't we talk about what happened to me in the winter of 1988?
Oh, some Donald lore. Okay, I'll bite as long as it's appropriate. So tell us, Donald, what happened to you in the winter of 1988?
Tell us, especially if it's inappropriate, Donald. I need the heat off me.
Well, I don't think it's as bad as the things you do that I'm aware of, so I can only imagine how bad this summer of 1973 must be, especially if you don't want people knowing about it. But man, oh man, where do I even begin with the winter of 1988? Well, I went to the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, which is in Korea, and I had some banging Korean barbecue and had so much amazing food while seeing the Olympics.
That's surprisingly wholesome. I love to see it.
I also banged a ton of hookers.
What is going on, gang-a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time around, old Joe is about to get hip and square with you all. And I will be ranking various slang words from Gen Z. And this is out to all my older folk out there, because when we use words like cap or snatched, they'll look at us and be like, damn, you know your stuff, old timer.
Joe, I don't think they'd say that. They probably would just look at you funny or just say, oh, dope, I didn't know you knew what that was.
Well, one thing is for sure, and that's the fact that Joe is certified in these slang words because he targets this generation of people and younger. I'm surprised we aren't doing a Gen Alpha slang words tier list.
Listen, we can Skibidi Ohio, Phantom Tax, The Rizzler, Looksmax, and Edge that list another day, because today we are focusing on something slightly older, as much as it pains me to say that. But enough of that, because we have a tier list to start. And up first, we have two back-to-back D-tier stinkers, and that, of course, is the E-boy and E-girl alongside period, but with a T. See, the T is supposed to emphasize the period, and period is sort of just exclaiming the correctness in that statement. Like if Donald were to say that he loves blue Gatorade dogs, I'd then say period to emphasize his statement and agree in unison. Then E-girl and E-boy are just a group of people who dress a certain way and like to associate themselves with a lot of electronic stuff. And so they're very prevalent in Discord, but they are not to be confused with Discord kittens.
Wow. We are actually getting taught stuff here, and that is actually kind of insane to me.
The Joe Dog needs to be on his A game when it comes to slang, because how else am I supposed to hit on these youngins? Anyways, after that we have Catch These Hands and Cap. See, Catch These Hands goes into C tier because I don't really hear people say it that much, and it's just a dumb way of saying let's tussle. However, I will say that Cap gets an A tier from the Joester. See, Cap is another way of saying you're lying. So when Donald tells me, hey, I lost 15 pounds this week, the proper response is to say Cap, because there is no way in hell that guy lost any weight. Maybe if he said, I gained 15 pounds, I'd believe him.
You know, making fun of my weight is some low-hanging fruit at this point. I am more than over with it, and honestly, you and Barack should feel ashamed for going the easy route and just calling me fat.
I didn't even call you fat.
Low-hanging fruit, high-hanging fruit. The Joe Dog does not care, because there's no high he won't soar to. And there's no new low for him to stoop to. Following that, we have two stinkers in the Chuji and Simp. See, Chuji goes straight into D tier because no one uses that, and that's basically someone who still uses old slang. They're called a Chuji, but no one in their life says that. So this is a terrible D tier term that no one should use. Then we have Simp, and I am going to place it into C tier because it's funny if you're using it ironically, then it's okay. But if you're for real about it and say simp unapologetically, then the Joe Dog is going to have a talk with you.
We all know that's something nobody wants, so you all should heed Joe's advice.
As people should with all sorts of things in life. Thankfully, though, we got a certified S-tier banger up next. And you've all heard me say it in videos, and the word kind of explains itself. But snack is just when someone is looking scrumptious. Like when Donald puts on those nice and tight shorts, he just looks like a snack that I want to eat up.
Okay, we didn't need to use me as an example. You could have literally said almost any other living being.
Nah, because it wouldn't drive home the meaning of looking like a snack. Then after that, we have TFW, which stands for that feeling when. So it's like TFW, you rip ass in a public train. It's a decent one, but it's a little more ancient now. And I think it only gets a C tier because it's being replaced by POV. And then we got touch grass. And then this is a cool insult, which basically means you're online too much, go outside and touch grass. And this one is definitely losing its staying power because a lot of people use it for no good reason. And for that, I have to only give it a B tier. Like, I swear, just because I've bookmarked and liked every single Billie Eilish TikTok and did the same for Jenna Ortega, that does not mean I need to go touch some grass. Dragon Boy 2234, how about you go touch some grass instead, you freaking idiot?
That one sounded really personal there, Joe. Want to tell us what happened?
No, Barack, I really don't. What goes down in the Club Penguin chat rooms does not need to be discussed in this video. Following that, we have the legendary back-to-back S-tier entries, because I have the next 4 entries going into S-tier. And people must know that when something slaps, it basically means that it bangs and is absolutely amazing. And bet is self-explanatory, but let me touch base on what the other 2 mean, because sheesh is kind of dying out, but I like it when used sparingly, but it's interchangeable with a longer damn or oh my God. Then my favorite phrase of this bunch is living rent-free. This is basically when someone's hyper-hating or has got someone on their mind 24/7. Like, that means that you're letting that person live rent-free in your head. They're a tenant in your mind, and you charge them no rent because you love them living rent-free in your head.
Joe, I'm actually amazed with the amount of slang, you know, and originally I was prepared for this to just be a shit show, but you're actually laying down some knowledge.
The Joester lays it down like how he lays down his pipe, thick and hard. But you all should have known that Joey here knows his words. I mean, how else am I supposed to pick up girls a quarter my age?
As gross as that is, he actually has a point. Joe had to have picked up something from always surrounding himself around young people.
On God, Barack, maybe one day you'll come over to the young side.
Don't plan on it.
Good. More young strange for me. Ahem. But yes, following those entries, we have main character. And this is a C tier because it's starting to lose its luster for me, but this is basically insinuating that you think you're more important than what you actually are. So people poke fun at you and say, bro thought he was the main character. So yeah, it's okay. After that, though, we have a banger in If KYK, and this goes into A tier. If you know, you know.
But Joe, what does it stand for? I actually don't know.
Barack, he literally said it. If you know, you know. That's what it stands for.
Oh, I bet I look dumb then.
It's okay, Barack, because everyone is here to learn. But I won't lie, that was a little chromosome deficient of you. But yes, then after we have 2 back-to-back B tiers in fam and high key. So fam is family. That's a given, but high key is a form of saying it with your chest. Like if I say low key, I like older girls, then I am saying it in secrecy and not really saying it with my chest. But if I say high key, I love the smell of kids, then I am saying it with my chest and want other people to know.
Wonderful examples there, Joe.
Thanks, I thought of them myself.
Pretty sure that was sarcasm, Joe.
Yeah, sure it was. Jealousy is not a good look on you, Barack. But yeah, then after we have I'm weak and sis, both going into A tier. You can use I'm weak and I'm dead interchangeably, but they both basically are used to describe something as funny. Like, let me use a very improbable example. Barack tells me and Donald a hilarious joke, so we both say that we're weak or that we're dead from how hilarious it was. Of course, that would never happen, but that's why they're called hypotheticals. Then sis is just a girl version of bro, and the Joe Dog respects equality. Actually, since I'm here, I may as well rate sending me, because this is the same exact thing as I'm weak, except you're directing it at someone. So if we use our previous impossible example, I would have said Barack is sending me, but I don't like that one that much, and we'll give it a C tier.
Why am I catching so much flack in this? I can tell funny jokes when I want to.
Prove me wrong right now and tell us all a funny joke.
What's the difference between jam and peanut butter?
I don't know, enlighten us, Barack.
I can jam a finger, but I can't peanut butter a finger.
I feel like this had more potential, but I liked how you came up with it on the spot.
I concur, Donald.
Well, I was working on an abortion joke too, but unfortunately it never fully developed.
Oh my God, Barack from the top of the rope.
You son of a gun, you set us up with the mediocre joke only to get us with that masterpiece. Respect has been put on your name, Barack, by the decree of the Joe Head Council. Oh man, but yes, following that funny sequence of events, we then have snatched. And basically this is girl slang for looking good, like damn girl, you looking snatched. And that gets a B tier from me because I don't really use it. Then after we have a good phrase in this ain't it, chief, and you can also just say this ain't it. and it gets the point across, and this is like an A tier, and I like seeing it under some Twitter replies when they post something funny, which then leads us into our next entry, which is clapback. And if someone says, "This ain't it, Chief," to you, then you can use a clapback, and that is essentially you returning the insult. I like this, but don't think it's above a B tier.
Is that because you can never come up with a good clapback, Joe?
I won't even front. I've been trying to think of a good comeback against this guy on Twitter for like years, but I still haven't replied.
Joe, did you just say years?
Okay, it wasn't that long ago, though.
When was this, Joe?
It was back in 2013, but I swear that I'm going to get him eventually. Anyways, enough of that, and let's instead go on with our video. And after that, we have bop, and this is basically just a new word for a floozy. Because if a girl is a bop, then you know she's for the streets and has been around town, if you all catch my drift. I think B for bop is fitting. Then after we have canceled, and this gets a C for canceled, because the idea of canceling someone barely works when you have me and Donald just going crazy. So it's more of an abstract idea and another way of saying, I don't like what they're doing.
Okay, don't lump me in with you. Half the things you do or say are very cancelable, and honestly, they should strip you of your platforms, Joe.
Yeah, I bet you'd like to see me strip. You dirty, dirty dog, Donald. Stay on the call after this video and I'll give you a little tease, but right now let's focus up on the list, and after that we have Stan. And this is basically saying you're a fan of something, but to a hardcore degree. Like K-pop stans are some of the fiercest groups of fans you will ever encounter. And they are called stans for a reason, but I quite like the term because all my Joe heads stand the ever-living hell out of me. Oh, but up next we have a certified D tier stinker because the CEO of blank is a terrible saying. It's basically saying that they're the boss of whatever they like. So an example would be me saying that Donald is the CEO of being orange. It just doesn't flow nicely. And for whatever reason, we have cis here again, and we'll just put that up with the other cis.
I don't like these little jabs you're throwing at me, Joe. I already told you all that it's just the color of a nice tan.
All right, Donald, don't get your panties in a bunch. I was just trying to come up with an example. But let's focus up on the list because we are almost done with it. Following that stinker, we have back-to-back S tiers in fit check and hits different. See, when something hits different, you're saying that there's no comparison, like taking a fresh whiff of hair hits different when you get out of jail. That would be a good example and use of it. Then for fit check, that's a cool way of showing off what you're wearing so you can be hanging out with your friends and be like, fit check, and then show off whatever stylish thing you're wearing. But my favorite thing about this word is joining some girls' TikTok live stream and then begging and spamming fit check in the chat until she gets up and does one. And oh man, the Joe dog is quite delighted to see her do that 360 twirl.
Joe, you have some serious issues, man. Do you know how many young girls are on that app that you're probably asking that question to?
Oh, believe me, I know. Why else would I go on TikTok, you artard?
I won't lie, Barack, you set yourself up for that one.
That he did, but yeah, let's go ahead and end off this list because now I want to go on TikTok. But yes, our final three entries are drag, which is another way of saying you're slow or you're holding up the process, like you're dragging to come out. That gets a B tier. And then after glow up, it's just another way of saying you became prettier or more handsome, like I glue up after COVID, for real, for real. That gets a C tier. And then lastly, we have small, and this shit is stupid as hell and gets an immediate D tier. I actually hate this freaking word.
What's with the hate for the word small? What's it even mean?
Wouldn't you like to know, Balmy Boy?
What is going on, gang-a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time around, the Don will be ranking various self-defense items that you see on this list. Now, if you ask me, I'd be okay with just my fists because that's the type of guy I am. But for the sake of the list, I'll pretend I'm as weak and feeble as Joe.
You know he has a point, guys. I'm weak and feeble, which makes it all the more exhilarating whenever I manage to subdue someone.
Okay, we don't need to hear more about that. But yeah, Donald, how are we exactly ranking these? Like, what's the scenario? Is someone breaking into your house, or are you fighting a bear or something?
Well, it wouldn't matter because I'm a monster no matter what. But we'll just say that an intruder who maybe has a crowbar or a baseball bat. So with those descriptions out there, let's go ahead and get this list started. And up first we have is a common household kitchen knife, and this is a solid A tier entry for me. See, if you have nothing on hand, then this is a good last resort, but also you can use it as a throwing knife if you must. So it has some range to it, but ultimately this is one of those items where you need to strike first and make sure you have a good grip on it because you can easily lose something like this during combat.
Well, couldn't that go for almost anything on this list? Just don't lose your weapons in general and it'll help you.
Joe, I think Donald means that with this weapon, it can get stuck to walls or inside of someone once you use it, so you have to be aware of when and where you use this thing.
Oh, you know what? That makes some sense, I guess. I take back my statement. Donald, you're smart for even thinking of that.
Yeah, I totally was saying all that in my head. Had all those thoughts ready to say, but then Barack came in. But yes, then after we have a bow staff, and with this weapon, one of its biggest strengths is the length, but one of the biggest weaknesses is its length as well. That can be applied to a lot of other things because it's not about the size, but rather the motion in the ocean. And if I were having my house being invaded by some random intruders, then imagine me whipping out this bow staff, and right when I'm about to swing it, I hit my hallway and boom, I get stabbed for leaving myself too open.
Yeah, but if you're in a living room or a larger room in general, then you have all the length in the world and can even wind it up. And if you're in a hallway, you can still use the end of it to poke people.
And if you combine it with the kitchen knife, then you have a spear.
Whoa, Joe, now you're thinking like a smart man. That being said, if I only had the bow staff, then I would only give it a B tier. I won't hate on it too much, but then after we have a fire extinguisher, and with this you lack range, but at the same time you don't, because you can bash people with this heavy thing, and you can also use the nozzle and spray people with carbon dioxide, and if you spam it relentlessly into the home invader's face, then they will not be able to see, and they'll have difficulty breathing too, and that's when you strike and get their ass. I think this is a solid A tier for what it is and how versatile it is. But man, what the hell is that next entry? Why is there some keys on this list? This is an auto D tier, because what the hell am I supposed to do with some freaking keys?
Or you can try jingling in front of the robber and hope that they get distracted enough for you to be able to attack with the keys. A little key stab in a vital artery and it's wraps.
Joe, I don't even think you can point out a single vital artery on a person, and that is absolutely stupid. Following that stinker, we have something slightly better, and that's the hammer. See, I like the power a hammer can provide, but it has absolutely no reach, and I'd really have to swing that thing to get some good force on it. I think it has the potential to move up, but for now, I am just going to give it a C tier. Thankfully, though, we got a banger of an entry next because we have the tried and true baseball bat, and realistically, everyone is more likely to have this over the other items on the list, and it's probably sitting under your bed as we speak. I have to place some respect on this thing because a metal bat can protect you and definitely cause some damage. And unlike the bow staff, it's not ridiculously long, and you'll be able to get in some good swings in, and I think this deserves an A tier. It's not the best thing for your safety, but damn, it's pretty good.
Way to absolutely glaze the hell out of the baseball bat, Donald. I thought you were going to hate or say something dumb like, my fist can provide more killing power than a bat. But you know what? You subverted my expectations.
Barack, I'd definitely be chromosome deficient if I said my bare hands were better than a bat. What do you take me for, man? Put some respect on the Don's name. Anyways, then after that, we have some weird-ass weapon up next, and I think this is a garrote of sorts. So it's like this wire or cable you're supposed to wrap around someone's neck, and I don't think this is going to help anyone at all because you have to be close to them and get a sneak attack, but if you land it, then it's a guaranteed dub in the Don's book. But it's not better than my patented chokehold, so I'm only placing this into C tier because it's still better than some damn keys. But damn, we have another D tier after that because we just have a rock. Like, what am I supposed to do with a damn rock? We don't even know the size of the aforementioned rock, but judging by the picture, it looks like it can fit in the palm of your hand, so at least you can bash someone's head in or throw it, but then after that, you're basically done for because the range is limited, and unless you're an MLB pitcher, that rock won't do enough damage unless you hit a part of their cranium that knocks them out. I think this is another certified D tier.
That's because you aren't thinking with your third eye. That rock can be used in a multitude of ways that you probably haven't thought of at all. Like, for instance, you can launch it with a slingshot and perfect it.
Joe, then you would be using the slingshot and not the rock.
All right, then you can grab the rock and hold it for extra weight in your punches so that you hit harder.
That just seems dumb as hell, Joe, and if it slips out, then the intruder can grab it and basically hit me twice as hard. The rock stays in D tier, Joe. But after that, we have this weird-looking butt plug, and I'm going to give it a B for butt plug because at least it has a pointy tip to really cause some damage. And with that ring at the top of it, maybe you can use it to latch onto one of your fingers, and it probably helps with the grip or something, but I wouldn't know how to handle one of these things.
As an expert butt plug handler, I can tell you all right now that I would be the most efficient with this weapon. I don't think anyone would be able to take me down if I had this in hand.
You know what, Joe? This is one of those times where I don't want to hear more, nor do I want to find out. Moving on, we got some mace, and goddamn, this is lethal. This is an immediate S tier, and I found out the hard way how bad this stuff was because Joe bought some as a joke the other day, and we wanted to see who would last the longest in a room sprayed with pepper spray, and Barack was the one timing us, and goddamn, as soon as we sprayed it in, it was instant death for us. I couldn't stop crying and coughing, and I swear I was about to puke, and Joe was already puking on his way out, so it's safe to say I won.
God, I remember that day. The spray even messed me up. And the only reason you won, Donald, is because Joe said he was already about to shit himself when we sprayed it, and he ended up just spewing bile out of both ends, and then he passed out halfway out the door.
Man, that was a fun day. We need to do that again because it was a fun challenge.
That wasn't a fun challenge, and it was probably in the top 10 dumbest things you've done. Thankfully, we did it in your house, Joe, because I was not about to clean all that.
I still haven't even cleaned it.
That is absolutely vile, Joe. I don't think I ever want to do that again. But you know what? To quote Justin Bieber, never say never. But yeah, then after we have a baton, and I guess this is on the same tier as a bat, so I'd give it an A tier. I mean, there's a reason why the police use it, and by all the people you see get beat up in protests, I at least know that it's very effective against people. I still won't put it in S tier, though. And then after that, we have our first S tier in the German Shepherd, because imagine this highly trained attack dog just lunging at the throat of the intruder, or at least pinning him down and viciously biting him. Either way, you're presented with two opportunities. You can either run like Barry would, or you can help your dog out and just wail on the guy. And that's why this is indeed a great self-defense weapon.
Well, I wouldn't reduce a dog to just a quote-unquote weapon, but I'd like to think I'd help my furry friend out.
See, if it were me, I'd pull the Minecraft strategy and just have a bunch of dogs and just let them maul the dude while I sit back and sip on some RC Cola.
Gross that you said RC Cola, but I like that approach as well, Joe. After that, we have two back-to-back B tiers in the mallet and nunchucks. And the mallet is like an upgraded hammer, I'd like to think. And the nunchucks could serve well, but who realistically knows how to handle some nunchucks? Like if I were Bruce Lee, then this would go into S tier. But then again, if I were Bruce Lee, I wouldn't need a single item on this list to defend myself. But the Don still wouldn't need any item from this list. He's just saying this from the perspective of one of you.
So you're saying you can handle an intruder with purely your hand-to-hand combat?
Listen, man, if I got one of them in a chokehold, it would be Raps. Because if I can take down an alpha wolf, then I can take down an ordinary man.
Not this nonsense again. Donald, no one thinks you can manhandle a wolf by just putting it in a chokehold, but I digress. The end of the list is near, and I just want you to finish it up.
All right, Negative Nancy, you can choose to not believe in the Don's skills, but one day you'll see how amazing I am in combat. Following that, we have some bangers up next because I have the bow going into A tier, because as long as you keep it drawn and are peeking a hallway, then you can for sure get a nice shot on someone, and it's not like they can deflect an arrow off their body.
Peek the hallway. What is this, Rainbow Six Siege?
Listen, man, you mock me, but it's true. They also hated Jesus for saying the truth.
Are you calling yourself Jesus?
I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but if Jesus were to reincarnate or use someone as a host/vessel to come back to earth and deliver his message, he'd definitely choose me. But yeah, then after we have some brass knuckles, and hell yeah, this is an S tier. Imagine boxing someone with these things on, and the intruder wouldn't even know what's coming, and he'd be laid out on the floor by the hands of the great Don.
Okay, but what about the range and the overall effectiveness of this?
Range, who cares about that? I'd effectively crack his skull in half with these bad boys, and it would look like a damn Mortal Kombat fatality, and that's all you need to know. Following that, we have our second to last entry, and that is the taser, which I have going into A tier. If you miss your one shot with this, it's Raps, because I don't think you can reload these things. But if it hits, then you basically won the fight. Then lastly, we have an auto S tier, because I mean, come on guys, it's a gun. What's he gonna do if he has a knife or a crowbar? Absolutely nothing, because the second he moves a direction that isn't outside of my house, my kill-death ratio is going to rise.
Oh man, don't even ask me about my KD, because it's in the hundreds.
In Call of Duty, right?
Uh,
In Call of Duty, right?
for legal reasons, yes.